Hello, my friends. How are you recently? I was away from my studio for a while, and I didn't take my painting supplies with me. I just took some small Bristol paper and markers, but I kept a daily drawing practice. Well, let's call it a doodling practice, because for each drawing, I spend less than 10 minutes. And I don't have a specific subject matter in mind before I make them. I just took a magazine, a book, I look at some random pictures, read some random texts. I try to make some connection between my environment and my memories. I begin with some simple intuitive marks on the paper. It can be figurative, or it can be some abstract lines, forms, or compositions. Then I try to diversify the mediums that I use. Different art mediums can give me different sensations of drawing. For example, when I draw with brush markers, the brush tips are very soft. You can easily create different types of lines, and you can quickly cover an area with vivid color. So I tend to focus a lot on color when I draw with markers. But when I draw with crayon or pencil, the lines are quite thin. You can move gesturally with pencil and make very energetic marks. You can also take your time, draw in the Renaissance academic style, make delicate hatching marks. Then we have watercolor with such beautiful translucency. When I work with watercolor, I tend to slow down, be cautious about my color combination to avoid a muddy result. I also need to be patient, waiting for the watercolor to dry before applying other mediums. So it's really fun to mix different art mediums. It changes the way you draw, and it also changes the pace of mark making. What I really love about drawing is the feeling of childish playfulness, this pure pleasure of scribbling on a perfectly white sheet of paper. You know you're not making a masterpiece. You know you don't need to show it. If you don't want to, you're just in the moment, entertaining yourself in the most innocent manner. It is so liberating. Personally, I spend a lot of energy and time battling against this fear of drawing or painting. Sometimes I feel this paralyzing fear that I will make a really bad drawing. I judge myself so harshly that I lose the desire to even try. I would say this fear of blank canvas is quite normal among artists. We all want to make beautiful drawings, right? We all want to make something that echoes with other people, that conveys a certain sense of beauty. But that's the problem. Art is all about taking risks while trying to make something beautiful. If we're so scared to make mistakes, then we'll not take any risks. We end up staying in our comfort zone and repeating ourselves again and again. Or worse, we're so scared that we don't even try to make anything at all. I think this kind of mentality, I must make great artworks every time, comparable to Rembrandt or Picasso in the museum, is really toxic. Art should be fun. We can't create under huge pressure, anxiety, or even pain. We want to cultivate a healthy relationship with art making, except that we cannot make great artworks all the time. It is okay to doodle just for fun. It is okay to feel free and joyful when we make a drawing. And this feeling of joy doesn't devalue our works. Suffering is not a precondition for making great artworks. I always believe that beauty should originate from a place of hope. Even when we feel sad, isolated, or desperate, the action of art making is an artist's way of resisting, surviving, or even thriving. Sometimes I also feel silly when I draw intuitively like a child. When you go to a museum, the majority of exhibited artworks are paintings and sculptures. There are very few drawings. At least that's the case in France, where I live. So we get this impression that art institutions only care about painting. There are almost a kind of hierarchy among different art mediums, and paintings are considered noble, yet drawings are considered not as serious, and they're often just preparatory studies for paintings. But this is simply not true. Drawings have always been very important in the art history. If we look at the Western art history, Rembrandt, Da Vinci, Antoine Watteau, these old masters all produced a tremendous amount of drawings. When you look at Asian art history, ink drawings is certainly the main art medium. When you think about a modern and contemporary artists, so many artists have worked with drawing. David Hockney, Cy Twombly, Zhang Daqian, Matisse, and so much more. Today, the frontier between drawing and painting is quite blurry. When you look at certain paintings of Matisse or Alice Neel, the brushstrokes are so far away from traditional sense of painting. It's almost like they're drawing with a paintbrush. Painting really prospered during the Renaissance era, and in the art market, paintings are also usually more expensive than drawings, and they are easier for conservation. That's why we see more paintings than drawings. In reality, drawing and painting are simply two different mediums, and there should not be a hierarchy between them. The first marks made by our human ancestors are drawings. We draw as a child. We draw when we want to study nature. We draw when we want to visualize our ideas. And we draw to express our feelings. Most importantly, all artists should preserve some playtime. What's a better way to have fun than doodling intuitively on a piece of paper? I learned from doodling that I don't want to be precious about my works. I don't aim to create a masterpiece every time I begin a painting. I want to nurture my desire to create constantly, sustainably. I want to create from a place of desire and hope. Thank you for listening, my friends. Have an excellent day. Happy drawing. I'll see you next time.